Welcome back to the Explainer. So today we are officially closing out our massive data visualization block, and we're doing it by exploring one final really incredible tool, Altair. Over our last few explainers, we've covered some wildly powerful static and interactive libraries, right? But Altair is built around a fundamentally different underlying philosophy than literally anything else we've looked at so far. It uses what's known as a declarative visualization grammar, which honestly is kind of the secret weapon of the Python data ecosystem. By the end of this explainer, you're going to understand exactly what that phrase actually means in practice, how Altair's entire approach completely flips the script on tools like Matplotlib or Bokeh, and exactly where it fits into your overall visualization toolkit. Let's get into it. Here is our roadmap for today. We'll start with the declarative philosophy. Look at how Altair works. Check out its interactivity and linked charts, discuss a few limitations, and then zoom out to look at the entire visualization ecosystem. All right, part one, the declarative philosophy. Let's look at this entirely new way to think about charts. Okay, think about it like this. The imperative approach, which is what we used for Matplotlib, Seaborn, Plotly, and Bokeh, is essentially like giving someone painstaking step-by-step driving directions. Turn left here, go straight for 2 miles, park by the red building. You micromanage the drawing process. You tell the computer, create a figure, then add a line, then add a title. But Altair uses a declarative approach. It's like hopping into a taxi and just giving the driver the destination address. You just declare what you want the final chart to represent by mapping data columns to visual properties, and Altair figures out all the step-by-step execution to get you there. It is a total game changer. Now, Altair actually doesn't exist in a vacuum. It provides this really clean, convenient Python interface for an underlying formal grammar called Vega-Lite. Vega-Lite was originally put together by data visualization researchers, and it acts as a well-established language for describing charts. This is actually huge for you. It means that once you understand Altair's core concepts, you aren't just learning one random Python library. You are mastering a foundational grammar that's used across the broader data visualization world. Moving right along to section 2, how Altair works and how we actually build these declarative visualizations. Let's see how this actually works in code, because creating a chart in Altair relies on a really elegant rule of 3. And it's quite a departure from the imperative style we're used to. First up, step 1, alt.chart, where you simply pass in your Pandas DataFrame. Easy enough. Step 2, you chain on a mark method. This tells Altair what visual shape should represent each row of your data. So you'd use .markPoint for a scatter plot or .markBar for a bar chart. And then, and this is the critical part, step 3, you chain on the encode method. This encode step, it is the beating heart of Altair's declarative philosophy. In other libraries, if you want to color data points by a category, you have to pass a highly specific parameter directly tied to that library's plotting function, right? Well, in Altair, using encode, you are just describing a general mapping. You literally just say, hey, map this category column to color, and Altair's underlying grammar automatically translates that into a sensible visualization. It's genuinely brilliant. It automatically picks a reasonable color palette and generates a beautiful legend based on well-established rules of design, which frees you from having to manually manage every single tiny detail. And this elegant system extends way beyond just color. By consistently describing mappings between your data columns and these visual properties, Altair gives you a unified framework. You map columns to X for horizontal position, Y for vertical position. You can vary marker sizes with the size property, give categories distinct shapes, and even control interactive hover information with a simple tooltip property. You aren't constantly having to memorize new complex parameters for every different chart type. You're just learning one cohesive system for building literally anything. Let's jump into section 3, interactivity and linked charts. Here's where we start connecting your data together. So, because Altair charts are fully interactive out of the box, they come complete with built-in hover tooltips, you can use its declarative grammar to add incredibly powerful interactive features with shockingly little code. Have you ever wanted to, say, lasso a cluster of points on a scatter plot and instantly see their breakdown on a bar chart right next door? Altair makes this so fluid. You set it up so a viewer can click and drag to select a specific region of one chart, which then automatically filters or highlights the corresponding data in a separate linked chart. It's practically magic. And speaking of displaying charts right next to each other, Altair lets you intuitively combine multiple charts using basic mathematical operators. I absolutely love this feature. Instead of manually wrestling with complex subplot grids and separate figure objects like we had to do in Matplotlib, you just use a plus symbol to place separate charts side by side.
You use an ampersand to stack them vertically, or use a pipe symbol to layer them directly on top of each other. It is an incredibly intuitive, surprisingly simple way to snap together multi-chart dashboards.
Okay, let's keep it balanced. Section 4, Limitations of Altair. We definitely need to understand the trade-offs here.
First off, Altair demands what we call tidy data, which is a very specific, well-structured format. If your data is a messy, sprawling nightmare, Altair's kind of feel pretty restrictive compared to other tools. Second, to keep your computer from totally freezing up under the weight of massive background specifications, Altair intentionally limits the number of rows it processes directly within a single chart by default. So while you can override this limit, it means Altair really isn't naturally suited to handling the massive scale datasets that a library like Bouquet just chews through effortlessly.
But understanding those trade-offs leads us directly to Altair's true sweet spot. This is the aha moment for this library. It is exceptionally strong when you need fast exploratory data analysis, especially when you're working inside Jupyter notebooks. Because it pumps out clean, visually stunning charts with so little code, you can rapidly explore multiple views of your data without repetitive typing. Plus, its built-in support for those naturally linked multi-chart interactions makes it absolutely perfect for building focused exploratory dashboards where beautifully communicating relationships is just as vital as the interactivity itself.
All right, Section 5, the visualization ecosystem. It's time to choose the right tool for the job. Okay, this is it, your ultimate cheat sheet for our entire data visualization block. When should you use which library? Well, choose Matplotlib when you absolutely need maximum flexibility and fine-grained control for static images, like if you're publishing a printed report. Choose Seaborn when you want fast, beautiful statistical visualization right out of the box. Go with Plotly for broadly popular general-purpose web interactivity, especially if you need maps or 3D. Grab Bokeh when you're building a genuinely custom, large-scale, or real-time interactive app. And finally, choose Altair when you want to move quickly through exploratory analysis using a clean, declarative grammar with beautifully linked multi-chart dashboards.
And that brings our data visualization block to a close. We have looked at 5 genuinely distinct ways to turn raw data into meaningful, communicable, visual insight. But I want you to ask yourself a question. Once we can clearly see the hidden patterns in our data, shouldn't we teach a computer to see them too? Are you ready to take these visual insights and step directly into the foundational workflow of modern Python machine learning? Because in our next explainer, we are kicking off our machine learning core block with scikit-learn, the library that basically defined the space. It's going to be a fantastic deep dive, so make sure you join us for that next explainer. Thanks for learning with us today, and I'll see you next time.